Hello everyone, and welcome to day 2 of Merry Maxim Week. Today's yarn we're featuring is a variegated version of yesterday's yarn. Yesterday we featured the Sunrise. Today we're featuring the Lullaby. These yarns feel the same. They're made out of premium micro acrylic. Just the yesterday's video is solid yarn and today's is a variegated version. Now this comes in 6 different colors, and the colors tend to be kind of, I'm gonna say babyish, but like, really, is this purple really just meant for babies? Because this is just so, it's too pretty to just only be limited to babies. Okay, so it is called Lullaby because the colorways are kind of, they're fun. They can make beautiful baby items, but like, I have a very childlike heart, so I'm thinking, I'm making myself stuff. Now don't get me wrong, this would make beautiful baby items just like the yarn yesterday, because I'm telling you, I think it's the same yarn. It's just a variegated version of yesterday's yarn. It is a 100% premium micro acrylic 3.5 ounce balls, 236 yards. It is variegated version where yesterday we had some solid colors. This is the color Cuddles, and it is beautiful, beautiful shades of purple. Today's tutorial will be for this beautiful summer hat to cover your hair when you're having a bad hair day, but it's not going to make you so hot that you can't wear it when it's warm outside. Or like, if you have hair loss, this would be fantastic. Chemo cap, just to like provide slight warmth, but mostly just for decoration to cover a bad hair day, honestly, or whatever. But this would make a this yarn is beautiful for chemo caps. It's beautiful for baby hats. It's beautiful for baby items. It would make a beautiful top. Just, this yarn is lush. It's soft. It's got a beautiful sheen on it. It comes in beautiful colors, fun colors. Now I know what you're thinking. That's baby yarn. But Cinnamon Stitches likes rainbows, okay? Cinnamon Stitches wants to paint the color in rainbows. I want my whole world to be rainbows. So I'm wearing this. I don't care if you think it's a baby color or not. But this purple, is this not slick looking? And the whole time I'm working up this yarn, I'm like, I need more of this purple because I want to make something big out. Like, how cute would this be in a shirt? Like a plus size shirt for myself. So I fell in love with the purple. And normally I'm not a big purple fan. And it's not that there's anything wrong with purple. I think purple is beautiful. But I have issues with purple. Okay? Like, I'm a big girl. I don't want to look like Barney. And I've been called Barney when I wore purple. So while purple is beautiful, I don't tend to reach for purple because of my size. Just because of that and the implications that go along with being Barney, or like, or like, you know, depressed fat girl. But man, did I fall in love with this beautiful purple color. And it's got all different shades of purple, and there's a little hint of pink here with the white, and then there's just beautiful purples. And it's so soft and silky smooth. This would make a beautiful light drapey summer shawl, a Cardi, like a lightweight cardigan, like anything. All right, so like I said, this is a lightweight number 3. This yarn can be used for yesterday's tutorial as well, for the fingerless gloves, which I put over here. So you can make a matching set. You could do either or, the variegated or the solid with these. It's meant to be to where you can make them a set, or you can just make them separately if you're not into fingerless gloves. This hat is really easy to make. It is a really quick tutorial. Because you're working lace and open stitches, it doesn't take up a whole lot of yarn, which is why I have so much of the purple left. So check this out. This yarn is $4.99. It's $1 more than the solid version. So the Sunrise is $3.99 and the variegated is $4.99. Is the yardage the same? 240 yards. 236 yards, so it's about the same yardage. But it is very common in the yarn industry for you to either get less yarn in the variegated version for the same price, or to pay a little bit more for the variegated version. I don't know why that is, but like, I will gladly pay $1 extra for this beautiful yarn. It's so pretty. It's so soft. And the hat was so much fun to make. I really hope that you enjoy this tutorial that's coming up, and I know that you will love this yarn if you want some of this for yourself. Like I said, hat, fingerless mitts, any wearable. This yarn is soft and lush. It's got a beautiful sheen to it, and just like yesterday's yarn, it may want to split. I did not have a problem with it because it wants to. It's got a loose twist to it. That may be a problem. A lot of times though, if I'm finding a yarn splitting, I switch the brand of hook that I'm using, because sometimes hooks and yarns don't match up. So just keep that in mind. So definitely check out the Lullaby from Mary Maxim Yarn. This is a beautiful yarn that until all of this happened, I had no idea was even on the market. So I'm like, hey, we're showing the Lullaby yarn because it is beautiful and everybody needs to know about the Lullaby yarn. Alright, so stay tuned. Next, it will be the tutorial for this fun and beautiful hat that can be worn all year round, but especially in like warmer months. You got all those beautiful air pockets coming through. And the tutorial is next. Okay, to start, we are going to make a slip knot, and to do that, you kind of make an awareness ribbon, short tail on the bottom, you pinch the X, go down from top through to the bottom and pull up a loop. Okay, and then you tighten that up a little bit, and then we're doing the foundationless double crochet. So I'm going to teach you guys how to do this. It's going to be fine. You chain 2. Okay, now we're going to be working the stitches this way. Okay, so we're going to be building the chain stitch and the double crochet all at the same time. So you're going to yarn over and go into that very first stitch right next to the knot and pull up a loop. Now every stitch is going to be like this. You're going to chain 1. That's your chain stitches. And then we're going to build our double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, pull off 2, yarn over, pull off 2. Okay. And then now that's 2 double crochets. We created the one, and now we created the second one. Now, yarn over, and see how there's a flat stitch that's right here? And if you turn it, it looks like a chain stitch. So you need to go through both of these. There's 2. See how there's 2 there? There's 2 threads there. You go through both of those. You're going to pull up a loop, and then this is our first. We're going to chain. So you take off 1, and then you make the double crochet. So you take off 2 and take off 2. Now we have 3 double crochets. Okay. Yarn over, do that again. Look for that stitch that's sticking straight right here. There should be 2 loops there that you want to get through. See? Pull up. And we're going to chain 1 and then make the double crochet. Pull off 2, pull off 2. I'll show you one more time. Wrap your yarn. See, there's a straight one here. And try to keep this nice and loose so you're not fighting to get in your stitches. See, make sure you get through both of those loops on the bottom. Pull up a loop, then you chain 1, that's the chain stitch, and then you make your double crochet on top of it. So you yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And this is what it's going to look like. Okay, and then if you want to count how many rows you did, you just turn it towards the top and you can count the V's. 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. Okay. And you just keep doing this until you have 78 for a small head or 84 for a large head. I'm going to chain 8. I'm going to do 84 of these. And then I will meet you at the end, and I will show you how to connect this so that it's in the round. Because that takes a little special stitch too. I had to figure that out last night. I was like, okay, now how do we go to the next step? But if you are still struggling and figuring this out, rewind and rewatch that part where I show you how to do this. And just be patient with yourself, because when you're learning a new stitch, you're not going to get it right away. Or if you do get it right away, tell yourself you're a genius, you're the smartest person that ever lived, and continue on. But it's not difficult once you figure it out. I thought this was going to be a lot harder, so I looked it up. I'm like, okay, how do I do this? How do I make a foundationless double crochet? Because what I was doing was not working. And so I looked it up. I was like, okay, that is ridiculously easy, because I already know how to do the foundationless single crochet, and it's the same kind of idea. And the hardest part, the part that I struggle with the most, is stitch identification. When you first learn this, is learning where you're supposed to put your hook. Or if you have to stop for a minute and put it down, then you come back and you're like, okay, well, where am I supposed to go? So just look for the part that's right here on the end, that straight part. That's where your hook's going to go. And if you want to count your stitches, turn towards the top. So the knot is at the bottom. Turn towards the top and count these V's. These are V's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's how you keep track. And I will see you when I have 84. Or 78 if you have a small head. Alright, this is the 84th stitch. But remember, if you're doing a smaller size, oh, I'm splitting it. You want to do the 78. It's 84. Now, to connect the two sides, isn't that a pretty stitch? It's so pretty. To connect the two sides, you want to make sure you don't twist this, and bring it over here so that they're touching each other. This is the end we started with, the tail there. Okay. This is where it's going to get a little weird, okay? So we have to attach it, but if we only attach it here and slip stitch it, it's not going to be attached at the bottom where it's going to be around our face or head. So you're going to yarn over like you're making another double crochet, and you're going to slip into those bottom ones like you're making the same stitch again, but we're not. And we're also going to slip into where that slip knot is, where that very first stitch was that we made. Okay? And then you're going to pull through the first two, and then you're going to pull through two, and then we're going to, where we would normally slip stitch, we're going to go through there and pull through three. Okay? So that it kind of gives us a double crochet and connects us. I'll show that to you again. And hopefully I can remember how I just did that. Alright, so to connect it, let me show you one more time. Make sure this is not twisted. Make sure that little tie is at the bottom. Yarn over and go through the bottom like you're going to make that stitch again, but we're not. Okay? But then also put your hook through where the knot is, where we first made that very first slip stitch chain. Okay? Pull through both of those bottom stitches. Okay? Yarn over, pull through two. Then you should have two left on your hook. Yarn over, pull in. Actually, don't yarn over there. I don't think we need to yarn over there. Put it through that top chain there where you would normally slip stitch, and then pull through all three. Okay, there we have it. Now it's connected top and bottom. So now we're going to chain one, and we are going to do front post, back post, double crochet. And to do that, we need to also work that one stitch that we worked, that funky stitch. So we're going to go around, wrap around, we're going to yarn over like we're making a double crochet, because we are. Go around the back of the stitch, pull up a loop, pull off two, pull off two. Now that's a front post, see, because it pulls it to the front. And we're going to go to the back post. We're going to go from the back and wrap around the front of the stitch, pull up a loop, pull off two, pull off two. Okay, that's front post, back post. We're going to do that all the way around. So this one will be, go around the back side of the stitch so that the stitch is on the front of the hook. Pull up a loop and then do a double crochet. Okay, now we're going to go around the back. So we need to go from the back over the top of the stitch. And now the stitch is around the back side. Pull up a loop, pull off two, pull off two. So what this is going to do is make like a false ribbing. Okay, so we need front loop. We're going to go through the back, pull up a loop. We're working around the post instead of in the normal part where we would work. I'm going to go around the back, up, and over the top of that stitch, and double crochet. That was our back post. And we're going to go from the top around the back. Alright, so just keep doing this all the way around. Front post, back post, double crochets, all the way around. And see how we have like a ribbing? That's all we're going to do for this row. Front post, back post. And then when you get to the end of the row, just slip stitch to join. And I will meet you there in 2 shakes of a dog's tail. Alright, so we made it all the way back around. Apparently I had one too many stitches, because that should be, it's fine, it doesn't matter. It should be front post, then back post, then another front post, but it don't matter. I'm just going to slip stitch that to join. It'll be fine. Alright, that's what we have. We have our false ribbing, which is absolutely beautiful. Got a little bit of white popped in on mine. Alright, the next row that we are going to do is the V-stitch. I turned my page. So, to get a V-stitch, we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That counts as a double crochet, chain 1, or chain, yeah. And then in that same stitch, we're going to put another double crochet. So that is our chain, our V-stitch. Okay. Now, we're going to skip 1, 2, and in the third, we're going to put another V-stitch. So that's double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and we're going to do that all the way across. We're going to skip 2, 1, 2, and in the third, we're going to put a V-stitch. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. This white is so pretty next to that purple. Skip 2, and in the third, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So this is just going to make V-stitches all the way around. That's what it should look like. And these rows actually go by really quick. I was working on the prototype for this hat last night, and I was like, wow, like I blinked and I was around that whole hat and I was at the back. Skip 2, and in the third, V-stitch, which is double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Now there's no chain stitches in between the V's, it's just V-stitch. Skip 2, and in the third we put a V-stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and on and on and on until you go around. In the next row, we're going to start a new stitch entirely. So there's going to be lots of stitches in this hat. Well, yeah, there's going to be a lot of variety of stitches in this hat. So far we have the foundationless double crochet, the front post, back post double crochet, the V-stitch, and then we're going to move on to the Drunken Granny, which is a lot of fun. Ooh, we got some pink. This is such a pretty yarn, and it's so soft. It's going to make such a pretty little... I don't even want to call it a hat, because it's not a hat. I mean, it's a hat in the sense that it covers your head, but it's not meant to be warm. It's not meant to keep the wind out. It's meant to be pretty on your head. And then that's it. That's it. It's just meant to be pretty. The thing I like about these lacy hats is, like, if you're having a bad hair day, you can throw one of these lacy hats on. It's not going to make you extra hot, but it'll, like, give you a little leeway on your messy hair. And you can continue this pattern on from what I show you and make it longer if you like. If you want to wear this over like your ponytail or something, you can make it a little bit longer. You can make it slouchy if you wanted. This pattern is totally customizable. You can just repeat any of these rows. I am loving this colorway so much. I'm going to get you around to the back. We're going to slip stitch to join, and then I'm going to show you how to do the granny stitch. And we're going to do the granny stitch for how many rows? 3 rows. We're going to do the granny stitch for 3 rows. But I have to show you the first 2 because the first row is going to be like a drunken granny setup row. One step at a time, Jen. Calm down. We're not there yet. You hear the dogs going in and out of the doggy door over and over again. Okay, now I'm getting towards the end. Oh, and we have exactly the right amount of stitches because yesterday I had 1 too many stitches and I had to fudge it, and that's okay if you have 1 too many stitches. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're towards the end. We should have 3 stitches between the V-stitch, the last V-stitch and the first V-stitch. Well, 2, not 3. You should have 2 stitches between the last V-stitch and the first V-stitch. And remember, this is a chain 4 that counts as a double crochet chain 1, so you want to go up to the 3rd and slip stitch so that it actually looks like a V-stitch. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch into the V-stitch now. We already slip stitched to join. We're going to slip stitch over into the V-stitch because we want to work out of the middle of the V-stitch. And what we're going to do is a drunken granny, which is going to start with a chain 4, nope, chain 3, chain 3, chain 3, chain 3. All right, 2 more double crochets. That's the granny part. Okay, 3 double crochets. Now we're going to chain 2 and put another double crochet in there. Okay, so it's like a uneven shell almost. So we have the 3 double crochets. The chain 3 acts as a double crochet. 2 more double crochets, chain 2 double crochet. That's what it should look like. Now you're going to skip the next V-stitch and go into the next one after that and do the same thing. 3 double crochets, which is the granny. Chain 2, and then the drunk part, which is the extra one. Okay, so granny, drunken granny. Skip the next granny stitch, or V-stitch, and go to the one after that, and put another drunken granny, which is 3 double crochet. Chain 2, double crochet. Skip the next V-stitch and go into the one after that, and put 3 double crochet. Chain 2, double crochet. That's what that should look like. Just keep going around it and I will meet you at the end of the row. Alright, so we made it all the way around to the end. We should have 1 V-stitch between the last drunken granny and the first drunken granny we made. We are going to slip stitch to the top of that first chain 3. Slip. Now, this is where it's going to get weird because we got to turn our work, okay? Now, normally when you're working on a hat, you don't turn your work, but we're turning our work and we're working back and forth for the next 2 rows. So then we're going to go into the hole. This is the last drunken granny we made. We need to go into that chain 2 space, so we're just going to slip stitch over there. All right, then we're going to chain 3. And then we're going to work the drunken granny again. So we put 2 more double crochets, chain 2, and a double crochet in that chain 2 space. So that's where we're going to be working for this row, is that chain 2 space. So in every chain 2 space of the drunken granny, that is where we are going to work our drunken granny stitch, which is 3 double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. It's like Granny is holding her liquor bottle, okay? Here's Granny, here's her hand, here's her liquor bottle. Drunken Granny. So you're going to skip the Granny stitch and the liquor bottle and go into Granny's hand and work another Drunken Granny. So 3 double crochet, chain 2, whoopsie, double crochet. Do that all the way around, just like you did this row, and then the next row is going to be exactly the same. You're going to flip your work and do it again in the opposite direction. So if you want to go ahead and do that, we should, by the end of this, have 3 rows of Drunken Granny before we move on to the next step. But never you fear, I will meet you at the end of this row, and we'll start the next row together. Alright, so we're almost around the second row of the Drunken Granny. Put my last Granny, chain 2, double crochet, and we're going to, this is what it should look like. We're going to slip stitch into that chain 3 at the beginning of the row, and we're going to turn our work again. Now we're back on the right side that we originally started on. This is what we have so far. Isn't this so pretty? It's so pretty. I might have to order some more of this purple. It's so pretty. Alright, so we're going to slip stitch back into the chain 2 space that we just worked. We're going to chain 1, 2, and 3. 2 more double crochets, just exactly like we did the last row. Chain 2 and double crochet in that same chain 2 space. And we're going to just do exactly like we just did in the last row. So we're going to work in the chain 2 spaces only and put a Drunken Granny stitch in each of those, which is 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. No, that was not correct. 3 double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. Wow, that was way off. That's what happens when I'm trying to crochet and think at the same time. Alright guys, you got this. I'll meet you at the end of this row. And I will show you the next set of stitches that we will be working into this. Oh, by the way, this is a good time before you get too far in the hat is to try it on. If you're making it for yourself, try it on your head, make sure it's not too tight, because when I got to this point last night, it was too tight, which is why I had to go up a hook size, which is what we're showing you now, is the 5mm. And I had to add 6 stitches because it was way too tight. So definitely try it on now so that you're not too far into the pattern. Try it on a couple of times. Make sure that it's still fitting you. Make sure that you're crocheting loosely enough that it's not tight on your head. This is not meant to be a tight fitting warm hat. This is meant to be kind of loose and kind of comfortable and just like more like a hair accessory than an actual hat, you know. Something pretty to go with your purple outfit or whatever other color you decide to do this in. Man, I'm digging this purple. And I don't think I have any purple clothes to wear this with. Go figure, right? Alright, I'll meet you at the end of the row. Alright, so we're at the end of the row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the end of row 6, we're on row 7. Yep, that makes about sense. Alright, we're going to slip stitch into that chain 3, the last stitch there, or the first stitch of the last row. Alright, now we are going to we're going to go back to the V stitches. Okay, so we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're going to double crochet in that same stitch we slip stitched into. Okay, that's our V stitch, even though it doesn't look like much. It's a V stitch. Then what we're going to do here is we're going to put 2 V stitches in each one of these Drunken Grannies. We're going to put one in the first chain 3 right here, or the double crochet, and then we're going to put a V stitch in the chain 2 space. Okay, so we slip stitched into the chain 3 or the double crochet, we put our V stitch, and then we're going to go over to the chain 2 space of the granny, Granny's hand, if you will. We're going to put a V-stitch, which is double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And then we're going to go right here, right next door. This is the granny section, that very first stitch. We're going to put a V-stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Go over to the chain 2 space, V-stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Did I say chain 2? We'll go over to that double crochet of the first of the granny stitch, and we'll V-stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the same stitch. This is what it should look like. Go over to the chain 2 space, put a V-stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. The first double crochet of the granny stitch right next door. V-stitch. Do that all the way around. 2 V-stitches per granny, per drunk granny. 1 in her head, 1 in her head, and 1 in her arm. I hope my weird visualizations help you. I figure if I can take real life world things and refer that to the stitches, it will help you guys better understand what the stitches look like and are supposed to look like. So I'm just going to stick with you because this row goes really fast. I'm just going to crochet to the end and put our V-stitches. And then the next row we're gonna do shells. So unless you're a brand new crocheter, shells should come really easily to you. Shells are easy. There's all kinds of shapes and sizes. Alright, we had a brief interlude. I had to change the battery. Ah, batteries. You know, you would think I would just learn and keep my camera plugged into the laptop because it saves the battery, but then I have to record directly to the laptop, and that's a pain in the neck to deal with. Alright, so as I was saying, shells. The shells come in all shapes and sizes. You can do a granny shell, which is these 3 double crochets, which we're not doing. We're actually doing 5 double crochet granny shells, but you can make granny shells as big as you want. You can do all kinds of things with shells. You know, Bentley. Bentley came in to lay under my desk. On his pillow. On his rug. Alright, we are almost to the end. I'm going to put my last V-stitch in that last chain 2 space of the row. I'm going to slip stitch in the 3rd chain of the first chain 4 of the row. And that's what that row should look like. Okay. Now, we're going to slip stitch into the V-stitch again. And because this is a variegated yarn, it's easy to tell which is the V-stitch and which is not. So we're going to slip stitch over there. And then I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to put 4 more double crochets in the V-stitch. So there should be 5 shells in that first V-stitch. And we're going to chain 1, skip the next V-stitch, and in the stitch right after that we're going to put 5 double crochets. 3, 4, 5. Don't forget your chain 1. Skip the next V-stitch. Go into the one after that and put another shell, which is 5 double crochet in this pattern. Chain 1. Skip the next V-stitch. Go into the one after that. Put 5 double crochet. Chain 1. That's what that should look like so far. Don't forget to chain 1 in between your shells, and don't forget to skip every other V-stitch. And you will be just fine. Alright, so we reached the end of the shell row. We're going to slip stitch to join in that first chain 3 of the row. We're going to chain 3 again, and in the spaces between the shells we are going to work shells. So we're going to put, and this is for the next 2 rows, so rows 8, 9, and 10 will all be the shell rows. So we need to work 4 more double crochet alongside of that chain 3. Chain 1, and go to that next chain 1 space and put 5 double crochet, which is a shell. Don't forget your chain 1. Go to the next chain 1 space, put another shell. And you're going to do this for this row and the next row. Just repeat this again. So you want 3 full rows of these shells. 5 double crochet, chain 1. 5 double crochet, chain 1. Dog barking. Alright, I think I have them to quiet down. So this is what it should look like. Shell row, and then when you're done with this row, just add another shell row, and there will be 3. I'm going to go ahead and let you do this on your own because this step is really, really easy, and I will meet you at the end of the 10th row. So this is the 9th row we're working on. Make 1 more row after this, and I will meet you there. Alright, we're at the end of row 10. I'm going to slip stitch to join. And we're going to go back. This row is going to be the V-stitches again. The V-stitches row is going to be kind of like our separator between the 2 rows. And so that's what we're going to do. We are going to chain 4, 3 and 4, and put a double crochet in that chain 1 space. And then we are going to put a V-stitch in each one of these chain spaces, but also in the center of the shell. So somewhere on the 3rd of the 5th stitch. It doesn't have to be exact. It's not going to matter in the long run. Just in the center of the shell somewhere. Put a V-stitch, which is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and in between the shells, put a V-stitch, and in the center of the shell, put a V-stitch. I'm going to do this all the way around. It's going to be our V-stitch separator row. Pretty easy, right? Because you've already kind of done this row already a bunch of times. By the way, this is what it should look like. So we got V-stitch, Drunken Grannies, V-stitch, shells. I'm going back to the V-stitch, and I'm stuck on my ring. Told you guys in another recent video, well, not so recent, a couple weeks ago, that ring snags on everything. Everything. Alright. V-stitch row. I cracked my window so my wind chime is extra loud. Now, that wind chime wasn't making any noise, at least that I could hear, until I opened that window, and it's like, okay, let's go. This moment of Zen brought to you by Cinnamon Stitches. It's almost like it's singing to us. Alright, I'll meet you at the end of the row. Alright, so we put that last V-stitch in. We're going to slip stitch to the chain 3 of that first chain 4 of the row. This is what it should look like. We're going to slip stitch into the V-stitch again, because right now we're going to switch stitches, so we're going to chain 3, and in every V-stitch should have the equivalent of 3 double crochets, because we're going to switch to straight granny stitch. Okay, so chain 3 and 2 more double crochets in that same stitch. Then in the very next V-stitch, we're not skipping V-stitches this time. So in every V-stitch, put 3 double crochet. No spaces in between, just 3 double crochet in every V-stitch. And then the next row, we're going to start our decreases to form the crown of the hat. So right now, we're just doing 3 double crochet in every V-stitch, which is easy peasy, rice and cheesy. We got this. I'm really loving the way this hat is turning out. It's exactly what I envisioned. It's lacy, it's colorful, it's fun, it's springtime, it's airy, so like even if it's hot outside, we can wear this cute little hat on our head. And this yarn is super, super soft, so this is something pretty for maybe cancer patients that have lost their hair, or like little kids, babies, like if you downsize this to a baby, which you totally could do very easily. You just gotta figure out, you chain multiples of 6 if you want to make this for a baby. You chain multiples of 6 until it is the circumference of their head, maybe 6 stitches bigger than the circumference of their head, because the last hat I tried to design for this, when I was designing this, the circumference fit my head at first, and then as I crocheted the extra stitches, it got tighter on me. So I mean, just keep that in mind. You might have to go an extra 6 inches up, or six stitches, not 6 inches. 6 stitches up, just to make sure that it fits. That's why I had you guys try it on after a couple of rows, because I want to make sure that it still is fitting your head, because that's the problem I had last night when I was designing this. But yeah, this would make beautiful little girl hats. So, Paprika, if you're watching, you need to make this hat for at least Adeline. Or Ginger Spice, as we call her. Paprika is my little sister, in case you didn't know, in case you're new. So, this would totally be cute, and it's easy to adjust the size. You just measure that circumference of your head over your ears, around your forehead, where your hat normally sits. And then you make those foundation chains in multiples of 6 until it is that length. And then you can continue the pattern. And then I think if you're going to make this a little kid hat, though, instead of doing the 3-row repeat of the Drunken Granny and the 3-row of the shells, I would probably like just do 2 of each of those. Or for a real small baby hat, like just do 1 repeat of that. Easily adjustable. But I don't really design a lot for littles. I make patterns that are easily adjustable, and you can make them for littles, but I tend to stick to bigger garments, bigger, like adult type stuff. That's my genre of preference. Do you guys love this yarn? I'm not even that big of a fan of purple, but this is just beautiful. When I first ordered this yarn, I was not expecting it to be this soft, because I've had this a couple months now. I wasn't expecting it to be this soft, and I was like, okay, now what am I gonna make with this yarn? Because it is delicious. It's delicious. And even if you're on the southern hemisphere and spring is not here for you like it is for us, because it's spring. Yesterday, I'm recording this weeks ago, so yesterday was the first day of spring for me here in the United States. Even if you're in the southern hemisphere and it is approaching fall-ish to you, I think it's fall when it's spring here, right? Colder weather, you can wear this in the fall. You can just make it in fall colors. You can wear this in the middle of summer. I mean, you could wear it in winter too. There are no rules. Alright, so we're going to slip stitch to join. So that was granny shells. God, this is pretty. Alright. So we're going to chain 3 again. And what we're going to do is we are going to we're going to start decreasing. So we're going to do 6 double crochets, and then, no, 5. We're going to do 5 double crochets, and then we're going to do 2 double crochets together. So the chain 3 counts as 1. So we're going to put 4 more double crochets, 2, 3, 1 in each stitch, not all in the same stitch. 3, 4, there's 5. Okay. And then we're going to do 2 double crochets together. And to do that, you wrap your yarn, go in the next, pull up a loop, pull off 2, wrap your yarn again, and go into the next stitch. Pull up a loop, pull off 2, you should have 3 on your hook, and then you take all 3 of those off. Okay, that's 2 double crochets together. You're going to do that every 6th stitch. So you're going to do 5 double crochet, and then 2 together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to do 2 together. So you yarn over, go in the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull off 2. Yarn over, go in the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull off 2, pull off all 3. And you got 2 double crochets together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 double crochets together. And then 5 more double crochets. I'm just going to do that all the way around. And at the end of the row, if this stitch count is not even and like you can't put the extra, like if the numbers don't add up, it doesn't matter. It's perfectly fine because we're just decreasing right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 together. Five, 2 together. Now, as I say in all of my tutorials, if you make this, I would love to see it. I would love to see your variation on it. I would love to see what colors you picked. I really just like seeing you guys make stuff that I tutorialize. It makes me happy. It puts a big old smile on my face. You can post it in the Facebook group. You can post it to Instagram and tag @Cinnamon Stitches. You can email it to me if you want. Just put it everywhere or anywhere. I'll see it. 3, 4, 5. If you have a channel, please show it. I would love that. I'd love to see that. I really hope you guys can hear the birds outside. Sounds like robins. This is a really cool thing. We're in the pathway of migration for the robins. So in Michigan, we always had the robins come home. And when the robins started appearing in your yard, you knew it was springtime or spring was close by because the robins only came when it was warm. Well, because we're on the migration pathway, when we see the robins, we know spring's already here. Okay? There's a good chance. I mean, it might still snow after the robins come here. Like, that has happened. But, like, there's a good chance we got 60 degree, 70 degree weather already. On the, when they come here, though, I can tell my sister with confidence that she's got about 2 or 3 more weeks and the robins will be there and then it will be spring. So, I just think that's neat. My sister's in Michigan, by the way. I'm in Virginia, in case you don't know. And we get so many robins here. I mean, hundreds and hundreds. Way more than I ever saw growing up in Michigan. I just love seeing those little guys. We have a robin. Well, we have a family of robins. I don't think it's the same robin over and over again, but I think her family, one of her offspring or something, comes back every year because since we've lived in this house 10 years, every year in my rhododendron bush in the front yard, we get a robin laying eggs. All right, so right here, something happened. So we have 5 stitches, and there's supposed to be another decrease here, but because the decrease is right here, I'm just going to fudge it and put 2 more double crochet, and it is not going to matter in the grand scheme of things. And then I'm going to slip stitch to join. Actually, no. There's not a decrease there, so I am going to decrease those last 2 stitches, which means my math was perfect. Ah, Jennifer. Come on. Alright, I'm decreasing the last 2 stitches. Ignore my previous statement. Slip stitch to join. My math was excellent. Excellent. Alright, so doesn't look like getting decreased very much. We got a little slight schloop right there, but we're going to decrease the next row too. Very similar to this. And you don't even have to count if you're good at stitch recognition. Every time you see one of these 2 together, just put a decrease there. So it's actually going to equal out to 1, 2, 3, 4, decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, no. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're still doing 5 decrease, apparently. Apparently. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. Do a decrease on top of that decrease. Now let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4. 4 double crochets and then a decrease. I knew that didn't make sense. 3, 4 double crochets. And see, on top of the decrease, this is what it looks like. We're going to decrease those 2 stitches together. 2 double crochets together. And then in the next row after that, you're going to do 3 double crochets and a decrease until this is, and then the next row will be 2 double crochets and a decrease until this is close enough that we can cinch it off and close it. But see, as you can tell, I'm not even counting anymore because I'm talking. And you can just look for the decrease and decrease on top of the previous row's decrease. And this is bringing the top of the hat, the crown of the hat, inward so that we can close it off. My darling Juju will be home any minute from school. I will pause when she gets home because the dogs go crazy when she comes in the door. But just continue this until it is close enough that you can do a decrease, or you can close off the top of the hat. If you've ever made a hat before, it means the same principle as every other hat you've ever made. You do decreases till you can close it off. And of course, if you want your hat to be longer or slouchier than what we have here, all you have to do is continue this pattern. Any of these stitches will work. Just continue some of these stitches on repeat until it's the length that you want. You can make this a super long hat. I like to do about 6 inches, and this is going to stretch out. So it's going to be actually longer with wear than what it is now because it's loose stitches. But if you want to make it longer, for like a shorter head or not as big of a head, I like to do 6 inches of design before I start the decrease. For slouchy hats or longer heads, I like to do 8 inches of design before I close it off. So, and that's from brim to where you start the decrease. But because this is going to stretch out, I didn't even measure to see how many inches this is, but it's going to work because I've tried it on my head several times. I even took pictures and previewed it for the YouTube members. They got a sneak peek. That's one of the many perks of being a member on my YouTube channel is you get to see behind the scenes what I'm working on, sneak peeks. I also do a weekly vlog where I talk about sometimes personal stuff. It's a deep dive into cinnamon stitches. But I also have been sharing a lot of previews and stuff, and I think that's a lot of fun. So you get to see what I'm working on before I even work on it. Alright, so I didn't have an extra stitch to decrease there, but it's fine. I'm just going to slip stitch. It doesn't matter. Chain 3 again. Continue on the same pattern, except this time it should be 3 double crochets and then a decrease. And I'm going to pause here and I will meet you at the end of this row. Alright, so we finished that row off and I just slip stitched it to join. Now I'm going to say right now at this point, if you want to go ahead and make this a messy bun hat and tie it off, you can do that. Right now, because Nancy, if you're watching, because I know Nancy's watching. Nancy, she's got yarn too. She likes messy bun hats. Cut it here, you got a beautiful messy bun hat. But we're going to finish, we're going to make this a full hat. But this could absolutely be, at this point, a messy bun hat. So we're going to continue on the decrease pattern. We're going to chain 3, and now we should only have 2 double crochets before the decrease. In the next row we're going to change the pattern a little bit. So we're going to do the 2 double crochets decrease, which is 2 double crochets together. But the next row is going to be, we're gonna decrease all of the stitches, and I'll show you what I mean when we get there. Weaving my hair in. That tells you I've tried this hat on a bunch of times. I just want to make sure everything fits. That's the key to designing and the key to creating your own wearables, whether it be a hat, glove, or a sweater, or whatever. Just keep trying it on so you don't get too far and have to frog too much. Just keep trying it on. Keep trying it on. And I always, if you're going to make a pattern as a gift for someone, I always make one first so I can get it down pat, and then I make a better version as a gift. That's my rule of thumb, because the first one is always messy, sloppy, or has mistakes, and I always keep that one. So we're just going to keep on with this pattern. 2 double crochet, and then 2 double crochet together. Two double crochet, 2 double crochet together. My arm is hurting. I've been crocheting a lot today. I'm gonna back you guys up a little bit. But, well, maybe I can't. I guess we're out all the way. I feel like we're really close to the camera. I'm going to try to back it up. I'd have to take it off of the stand to do that. All kinds of background noise. Dogs and daughters and all the things. Alright. Slip stitch to join. Now this is where we're going to change it. We're going to do decreases all the way around. We're going to chain 3. That's what it should look. It should be curving really beautifully right now. So I'm going to double crochet 2 together all the way around. Double crochet 2 together, and the next 2 stitches, double crochet 2 together. And the next 2 stitches, double crochet 2 together. We're going to do that all the way around. We're going to really give it a quick decrease right here. One thing, don't forget, go on over and like the Mary Maxim Facebook, or like their, I think they have an Instagram too, or their YouTube. They definitely have a YouTube. Go over there and share some love from Cinnamon Stitches. Say, hey, Cinnamon Stitches sent me and I'm here now. Go give them some love. Because they have some amazing yarns. They have some amazing prices on their yarns. And, yeah, don't be sleeping on the Mary Maxim yarns. This yarns is amazing. This is beautiful. And I don't know of another yarn that is comparable to this on the market right now. This hat is so pretty, and it makes me feel so pretty. I'm just loving these colors. This should decrease a lot. Like, it should bring the hat in a lot at this point, because we're doing so many decreases. Alright, that's a false stitch. So when we get to that last stitch, we're a slip stitch at the top there. Give you an idea what that looks like. See how we brought it in a whole bunch right here? And then this next row should probably be the last row, because it should be enough to close it off, because that hole is getting a lot smaller. So we're just going to repeat that same row. We're going to chain. We're only going to chain 2 this time because, like, yeah. And in that same stitch, we're going to decrease that stitch and the next stitch. And we're going to do that all the way around. Is the same thing we did the last row. It's just 2 double crochets together all the way around. Get your hair out of there, Jen. Two double crochets together all the way around, all the way around. I think I need to go buy myself some beautiful pastel-y purpley clothes to go with this hat because this hat is so pretty. So pretty. Oh, back to the beginning. That was quick. That was quick. Now see, all we have left is this little tiny hole right here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to single crochet 2 together all the way around. I'm going to really, really close this off. 2. Three. And can't tell if there's supposed to be 4 there. We'll just slip it in those 2. Just however you can close it off. Close it off. And we're done. And that's the top of the hat. Where are my scissors? Cut a couple inches off. Weave that in when you're done. Just weave it in a circle around that way, weave it in. And there you have the beautiful lace hat. I'll bring you guys up higher so we can actually see the whole hat. There we go. Now we can see the whole hat. Let me screw you guys in so you're not falling down. Alright, there you have it. Beautiful, beautiful lace springtime hat. That's actually the back. We'll show you the front. Isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. Turn my ring around so I don't snag the yarn again. What do you guys think of that? Oh, I'm so happy with the way that turned out. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this tutorial, and I will see you tomorrow for another beautiful design made with Mary Maxim Yarn.